Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well, that your week is off to a good start. I wanted to just check in with you and let you know where we're at and where we're headed this week. We just finished up Unit 4, and so I'm looking forward to reading your annotations and tweets about the reading you chose, as well as about the Bananas episode of the Throughline podcast. So I've noticed some good conversations already happening in those places, and I'm excited to kind of jump into those conversations about the way historians interpret the past in secondary sources of different formats and different choices. I think I mentioned this at least anyway before, but the Garner article that you read emphasizes historiography, whereas the article of my own that I shared with you emphasizes how historians might use different types of conceptual frameworks to interpret the past. So both of those are important pieces of historical interpretations that we need to look out for and critically evaluate as we read secondary sources. Of course, those things are maybe less visible in a podcast, but podcasts are still secondary sources themselves, and so we need to think about how to engage with those critically as well. All right, moving to Unit 5. I have posted Unit 5. I got it up a few days ago. I apologize for being kind of by the seat of our pants this term, but I guess that's 2020 for you. Unit 5, we're looking at primary sources, so we've switched from historians' interpretations to looking at the raw materials of historical study themselves. So you'll work through some reminders of what primary sources are, and during this first week, we'll really be thinking about different contextual uses of primary sources, as well as why and how we read primary sources differently than we read secondary sources. That may seem obvious on the surface, but it's important to think a little more deeply about the kinds of questions we would want to ask of a primary source versus the kinds of questions we ask of a secondary source. In both regards, we want to think critically, we want to apply historical thinking skills and think of the 5 C's, but we'll do it in slightly different ways because we have a different purpose usually when we're reading a primary source versus a secondary source. So that's kind of the focus of what we'll be doing this week. Please join us on Wednesday afternoon if you're able. I really want to strongly encourage all of us to show up and be in attendance for Dr. Tomas Jan, who is the director of the Center for Southwest Research at UNM. That's their archives. And so he's a skilled and experienced archivist, also has a background in history, and he will be talking to us about the collections that they have there, and also what kinds of things you might do as you work in an archive. So I'm very grateful that he has taken time out of his busy schedule to meet with us via Zoom. And so that is Wednesday, October 14th at 2 o'clock, it'll be from 2 to 3. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to post the link to that Zoom meeting here in this announcement so that you'll have that readily available. It's also available in the schedule for our course on Medium and in the Unit 5 unit narrative. So there are a few different ways you can get access to that. If you're not able to make it, this one will be recorded and I will post it in CNM Learn so that you can watch it after the fact. All right, so let's see. The other thing I did want to mention is that I have posted the guidelines and instructions for the final project. You'll notice they're a bit detailed, there's a lot to them, but also keep in mind this is something we'll be working on for the entire second half of the semester. In Unit 6, we're going to think about how to choose a topic and how to formulate a strong research question. So that's something that we'll just be focusing on as part of class, in addition to that being one of the requirements for the final project assignment. So my point here is that you'll be able to work on this little by little over the next few weeks. In the units that remain, there will be some time set aside for you to do work on the research project, for you to ask questions, for you to share with others. I've also set up um, a means for you to be able to, sorry, I'm getting a phone call, I have to decline it. A means for you to be able to do some peer reviewing. So you'll workshop your papers, or they're not going to be papers, they're going to be digital projects. So you'll workshop those with your peers and get feedback from them as well as from me. And that will be how we round out the course and how we apply the historical thinking skills that we've been thinking about and working on over the past several weeks. So please look at those things. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you need help with anything, whatever it might be. I'm here to help with the class. I'm here to help if you have any concerns about school or whatever it might be. I hope that you're having a good week, and I will talk to you soon.